Hey there. So I've given you a task to use a data set and preferably get one from Kaggle. And there are a variety of data sets available here to the left. And you can pick whatever they are, what they have to do with, but it could be anything. Now, let's go look at the different types of data sets in a minute. But let's start out with what does it take to be able to get a data set. And let me minimize this a little bit so you can see. I couldn't actually see my icon the way I had the screen laid out. But here's a window. This icon right up here in the right corner, that's our user profile. That's our information about us when it comes to Kaggle. All right. So when it comes to Kaggle, there's that. And if you click on it and go to your account and go to data sets. Oh, excuse me, not data sets, it's account. And then once we're on our account, we go to create new API token. Now, if you click that, it will download a file down to you down here in the bottom corner. And it's a JSON file, JSON file. And I'll show you what to do with that here in a few minutes. But that file is what allows your Google Colab to talk to Kaggle. It's got your account login information in it. So from there, let's go look at data sets. It could be any data set. Animation, movies. This is one that I just used, and the one that I'm going to actually use in this example. It's chest x-ray images. Now I've got a project that I'm working on, and this project let's start out with Manai. I'm going to come down to Kaggle. So I'm going to start out here with Kaggle. And in Kaggle, we're going to do this exclamation point pip install Kaggle. And then run that. And that will go through and that will load everything you need for Kaggle to be able, for your notebook to talk to Kaggle. All right, so there's the first part. And then the next part is going to be the API install. And the API install is installing that JSON file that we just got. So we can say Google Colab import files from google.colab import files. And once I've got that in there, that allows me to use this files.upload. And files.upload, what I'm going to do there is I've got that JSON file that I'll go ahead and run this. I got the JSON file that I just downloaded. I showed you how to go get that in here going up to your account information. Now that's your JSON file that they downloaded. Well, I downloaded mine, and once I run this file upload, it's going to come up and say, hey, what file do you want to upload? And I click on it, and I pick that Kaggle file that I just, see there it says JSON, pick that one. It went, and it got that file, used the data that's in there, and said, hey, here's the data that's in that JSON file. Here's the person's username and the key and everything. All right. From there, I'll make a directory, exclamation point, mkdir, space dash p, space, and we got that little curly line, and that's the key that's next to the number 1 on your keyboard, shift key next to 1, / period, and then kaggle. So we're going to make a directory, somewhere to put this thing. The next line, let me zoom this a little bit so you can see it, exclamation point, space, cp, copy, space, kaggle.json, and we're going to copy it into that kaggle file or folder that we've created. This next line of code, you'll run that, exclamation point, space, chmod, space 600, and then this is the root, so that same little symbol, / period, kaggle, / kaggle.json. So now our JSON's there. So let's go ahead. If it's already done, it won't create a second one. And we'll run those. And there's nothing, it's not showing me anything. We don't see anything taking place, but it is actually doing something. So this line of code right here is where that data set's going to come from. Let's come back to where we were. If I click on this, it says chest x-rays images of pneumonia. So it says here's information about it. So I want to view more. I could download it. Man, that's a big file, 2 gig. Rather than doing that, we're going to go about it a different way. And we see there are 6 directories in that zipped file. 2 test, 2 train, and 2 validation. Wow, what is it that I want? I want to be able to use that file. I need to gain access to this file. Well, where am I going to get that? If I come up here, right there, see the 3 dots, ellipsis? Click on that. New notebook, bookmark this page, or copy API command. Click that, copy API command. Come over to the notebook. Now on the notebook, click code, Control V will paste. Look at there. That's the exact same line of code. The only thing it's missing is the exclamation point and a space at the beginning. So that's where I got it from. I came up here, click, copy API command. Now, with that API command, that's the pathway for my notebook to access that data set. And when I execute that link, it uses the fact that I've got the API to communicate with Kaggle and pull down all that data and dump that data here into my folder. So it's loading it right in here. Chest x-ray pneumonia.zip. So it's loading that file in there. And then the next line, I'm going to go and say, I'm going to see where this thing is and what's going on in there. And it'll show me that there's the file, there's my JSON, and it's in the sample data. Okay, those specific lines of code, that's what we need to download whatever the file is. It could have been a zipped file, it could have been a CSV file, whatever it may be. So that'll get the file in here for me, and it's, what, about almost 50% down. I'll execute the next one, and then the last one is to unzip it, and I can run !unzip, and then the name of the file, and it will unzip it to where I have access to all those files at that point. I'll go ahead and execute that, and as soon as it's done up here, then it'll come down and it'll run this for me. So if it's a big file, there's one way. If it's just a CSV, come over to datasets. Let me see if it'll let me. Here's MNIST and CSVs. 16 meg. I can download that file, upload it to my Google Drive. Showed you before. Right click, share the link. And I've got code in one of the previous notebooks on how to connect to the CSV. So here's another way to connect using Kaggle to CSV. But if it's a CSV, you don't have to go through all this stuff that I just walked through with you. All right, it's 100% there. Show those. Now it's going through and unpacking all those, or they're saying inflating, all of those JPEGs or those images. Go ahead and show whatever's there again. And then I can go work with it, whatever I want to do with it. Okay, so there's a number of different ways we can go about what we just went and did. Let me go open another notebook real quick. Let's look at let's go look at 13. Let's see if I've got a connection in 13. Files and directories. Here we're connecting to .txt's from the thumb drive. There's one way. And there's object oriented. I didn't have it there. I want 12. Or 10 or 11. Okay, I know I've got something in here. So if I come down here, this is the module 12. This right here is a link to my Google Drive. I stored it in URL. Copy this line exactly to put below it. This splits it up. And then this next line takes what you've got and stores it into a data frame. You don't need the encoding part. You could just have URL. And that will go through and do the things that you need to do. There's another example, I think in module 10, 9 or 10. So I've showed a few times how to go about that, far more than once. So that's the different examples on how to pull data in. On, I think, 11 it was, we did wrangling, mangling, and cleaning. So there's great examples in there relative to this Kaggle data set. task ahead of you. Right? The big thing is look and see what's in the data. Open the file up and go look at it. Right? So you can go look at this file, see what it looks like, if this is one that you want to use. In this is handwritten. This is probably not what you're going to want to use. These are handwritten characters. But it's just a matter of finding the data set that you can go click. Like I said, easiest one is .csv. Titanic's, that's a good example for you. Titanic example would work great for this assignment. Here you go right there, download it, upload it to your Google Drive, and use the examples that I just showed you. You can also come look over here for notebooks and see how they brought it in, what they did. See there? So they did it local. You can do the URLs just like I did. Do the URL name here, pass it in. Here we go, df.ed. Remember what happens if you write the number 20 in there or 8 in there. If you don't remember, do it, see what it does. And here's some things that can be converted to from words to numbers. So, shoot me an email if you got any questions, and I'm happy to have you in the class.